Boston and New York making business decisions. How motivated am I when I'm being told to take less money when everyone else is benefiting, and I've got to go out and play through injury for you because you told me, one, I'm on a 1-year deal. You didn't give me anything to tell me I'm coming back. What's the incentive for me to play hard? Everyone else made money but me. Let's bring in one of the top paisans in Philly. And he is one of my favorites too, by the way. Marc Farzetta. He joins us now here. I don't know, Farzy, what you making the new Pope?
Are you kidding me? My son's name is Leo. So I moved up the ladder. You know what I'm saying? I moved up the ladder. All right. Also, I was happy to see the new Pope. I was happy to see the white smoke. I think that means that the tush push is not getting banned. So I think that's a big win for Eagles fans everywhere. And Chicago Bears fans, I'm sorry, just because your Pope is a Chicagoan, the Pope is a Chicagoan, doesn't mean you're going to meet the Green Bay Packers. I think you're going to need more than God to be able to upset the rivalry there. Big win for the Peruvians. Spent a lot of time down there. I've spent a week of my life in Peru. The food was terrible, but the people were great. And congratulations to the Villanova people on Pope Leo as well. It's a big day. It's a big, big day, my friend.
Absolutely. I think they're probably celebrating in Blue Island and right there in Arlington Heights because they're moving the stadium there, obviously, too. So a lot of good things happening in Chicago here lately. And now we get a Pope. Couldn't believe it, an American Pope here. All right. So my diatribe, as some would, label it.
Yeah.
What do you make of this whole Goddard thing here, man? I mean, look, when healthy, he's still a top 5 guy.
Oh, yeah. I get
just
it.
Your spin on this here. What do you make of this?
Well, my first reaction to it was like really the only team that we heard at least kick the tires on Dallas Goedert was the Giants. So I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that conversation. Like, how much are the Giants offering? Yeah, no, I'll take $4 million less to go back to the Eagles and play for the Giants. That was the first thing. The second thing was everyone we hear coming to Philadelphia, from rookies to free agents to veteran free agents, whatever, they all talk about this culture that is so great. Now, let's just move right past the rose-colored glasses, the Disney-colored glasses, and all that stuff. The Eagles are winners. All right, the Eagles are winners. 3 Super Bowl appearances in 7 years, 2 Super Bowl championships. That's pretty damn good. So right away, that's the most important thing. Now, right after that, though, if I'm a player, I want to play for a team that's going to win. Dallas Goedert taking a pay cut to return to the Eagles. And let's not forget about the order of all this. Let's not forget about the chronology. The way this went was Dallas Goedert wanted a new deal. The Eagles said, forget about it. You're going to go somewhere else. Go seek a trade. You have our blessing, okay, to stick with the theme. You have our blessing to go out and seek a trade. No trade. No trade. So he comes back to the Eagles. Dallas Goedert's camp sits down with the Eagles. They work out a deal that is obviously not going to pay him more money. It is going to be guaranteed. All the guaranteed money for him was already gone. So they guarantee the deal. And at the same time, if you're Dallas Goedert, to step into the more maybe examining the full realist type of movement with this deal, it's not just about taking a $4 million pay cut. It's about George Kittle just signed a deal that is a record for a tight end, and he's a year older than you. This time next year, you're going to be going through the same type of thing, and you could be doing it after you, A, have an actual healthy season, and B, you also go out there and you win another Super Bowl. If Dallas Goedert does that, he'll get George Kittle money. Dallas Goedert ain't getting George Kittle money right now, but he could get George Kittle type money over the next 2-3 years after this season if he's got another Super Bowl ring, even if he just has a healthy, productive season, because I still believe that Dallas Goedert is at worst a top 5 tight end in the NFL.
Absolutely.
So he could make bank next year by doing the cliche, betting on himself this year.
Yeah, auditioning and how and I completely agree with you 1,000%, Mark. If you're looking at your agent, you already know the writing on the wall with them. They've already expressed it to you, and they've showed it to you with the lack of a 3-year contract or with any money of any kind of substance when it comes to a signing bonus. So like you said, do I want to go to Carolina like Miles Sanders and destroy my career for $3 million more and lower my market value, or do I come back to a winning environment where I'm auditioning for 31 other football teams out there that may need a tight end or may want my services? So I do think that, to me, though, it just was really odd, though, in how they handled this all, because, I mean, look, there's no doubt Howie Roseman works for the owner, and that was a stroke of genius. They made sure that they didn't draft anybody. They barely signed anybody. Harrison Bryant, these guys are dudes. That is the guy they wanted back, but they wanted him back at their own price, and they wanted him back at their own contract. And so they got him another year, and it was really a well-done job. But again, at the end of the day, Mark, I mean, he's telling people, from Drew Rosenhaus saying, is that when Dallas was out, like maybe the Chargers had some interest in him. Howie's telling him, yeah, we gave him permission to go seek a trade. Right there, you're already asking questions. Why of a top 5 tight end? Then you're sitting around going, well, one of the reasons why we're moving off him is because of the injury factor. That's going to shrink half the market. So what he did was he set the landmines out there to get the player he wanted and getting him back. Again, people are going to look at that and go, Sills, are you saying that he was disrespecting? No, he was just doing NFL business. That's what he's not the only general manager looking for the right deal. So I don't want people to get hurt by this conversation. This is how the NFL acts. They want a player at their price. Everyone else, you look around them, it's greatest year of all time. But at the end of the day, this is what goes on in the NFL, son. This is what we think you are. See the answer? That's exactly right. That's exactly right, the answer.
Yeah, look at it. I mean, look no further than Hassan Reddick a year ago. That was Joe Douglas. Howie Roseman won a Super Bowl with Joe Douglas working right under him with the Eagles. It wouldn't have shocked me if Howie Roseman pulled off that deal, having already bought Hassan Reddick 2 tickets to Japan and a robe and fuzzy slippers, knowing how it was going to end up in New York, right? So now you look at it from another perspective. He's going to do the same thing to Dallas Goedert. And Dallas Goedert, to his credit, all the interactions I've had with him over the years, he is a very down-to-earth guy. Cool. He's a good dude. He's a team-first guy. Look, I mean, look, all you need to know, not even know him personally, all you need to know is he is a great, not an average, not a serviceable, a great blocking tight end.
Absolutely.
That means you are a selfless player, and that reflects his personality as well. And you know what? On that note, I always go back to this story. There, some years ago, the year actually I think the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they were playing in Atlanta. And if you remember this, a bunch of guys went down, including Dallas Goedert, in pregame warmups. And there were all sorts of reports about the pressure in the dome in Atlanta had changed when they closed it, and a bunch of guys who weren't used to it. Like, you remember that story? Anyway, after that game, the Eagles got beat up in that game. The run game was non-existent. I remember Jason Kelce talking after that game about how they had to throw away half their running plays because Dallas Goedert wasn't in there to block. That's how pivotal he can be. That's how important he can be to an offensive line. That's how important he can be to a run game. Just that skill set alone. So the idea that he's back and the Eagles are running it back with this offense, I mean, look at it like this. If you're doling out question marks to this team, you're throwing the last – maybe on offense, the one position you're looking at is right guard, but again, that's offensive line. You got all the trust in the world in Jeff Stoutland. It's on the defensive side of things. If they need a little bit of a learning curve, I have no doubt in my mind that this offense is going to be a juggernaut yet again now that Dallas Goedert is back.
Help me. Listen, you and I are talk show hosts. We have been for decades. So when I bring a topic of this up, again, this is just me being Big Sills here, and you know how that can be. There's a lot of cinema to it. We'll use that word, okay?
I love the setup. I love the setup to this question already. Go
ahead. See, he's a professional. He knows where I'm going already. So if you're A.J. Brown and you got the 30th ranked offense, passing, and you had 44 – though you were 44th in targets this past season, and you duplicate every single thing you did a year ago, you win the Super Bowl. You run the ball like a maniac. You're winning with Saquon Barkley. All of a sudden, you don't win the Super Bowl. You come up short. You get beat in the divisional round with the same season that you had a year ago. how do you feel A.J. Brown will be on that situation when last year we were watching him read books on the sideline for Jelly of the Month Club, and we're kind of watching him like, as he was getting ready to check some books out down there at the library. I was just curious, how do you think he'll act, knowing full well that, wide receivers like their targets?
Yeah. I found it very interesting last year. They were asking him these questions, and I want to say 3/4 of the way through the season, when it was pretty evident that the Eagles weren't changing anything offensively, that it was going to be a run by far first type of offense, and their passing game was going to be used only in case of emergency, break that glass, and behind it is Smitty and AJ and Dallas, or at times Grant Calcaterra. AJ Brown would just stand there in his locker room and smile, or in his locker and just smile and just say, "You ain't going to get me. You're not going to get me." And the only time he was really critical was a time that it was just undeniable that the passing game had suffered. And I forget the word. I forget the word that was used at the time, but it was a perfect way to kind of sum it. It basically went stagnant. It basically went stagnant, the Eagles passing offense. So I think this is going to be a huge responsibility on the plate of Kevin Patullo sitting at a new table. He's the guy that is now in charge of calling the plays. He's the offensive coordinator. If I have one request, and it has to do along the lines of making sure AJ stays happy, and I'm not saying that like AJ, because I'm one of the few people that says AJ Brown is not a huge diva. I think he has necessary conversations when it's time to have them, and that's one of the great themes of last year, whether it's Devontae Smith or AJ Brown, talking about tough conversations. But I think a lot of this responsibility is going to fall on the table of Kevin Patullo, because if I have one request to make of him, it's to make sure that you don't give the ball to Saquon Barkley 482 times the way you did in all of last season and postseason combined. Look, I would love for that to be the case where you just ride that until you can't. I would like to know that that is going to last me until another Super Bowl championship. But don't ask as much of Saquon Barkley. Rely a little bit more on the passing game to get you out of situations. Ask Saquon to, yes, be as great as you were, but in terms of workload, touches, and all that, we're going to rely a little bit more on our passing game in that regard. Not force it, but just have that be a little bit more of a game plan. Not be the league leader in passing. I don't care about that. But can I get, you mentioned third in passing. Can I get, or 30th in passing? Can I get middle of the road? Is it too much to ask for a middle of the road passing game? Because even that will spell Saquon Barkley enough to the point where you don't have to use him in nearly as many fourth quarters. And that was still using him sparingly in fourth quarters last year. I think it would be the best way to spread that love and continue to keep everybody happy.
I posted this question here on my X account here, and let me ask you this: since 2022, who do you believe has been the most important Philadelphia Eagle since 2022? And remember, without A.J. Brown, the Eagles are 24-28-1. And the Eagles with him, since he showed up, they're 39-12. So my question would be to you, is it A.J. Brown? Is it Jalen Hurts? Is it Barkley, who delivered the Super Bowl to you this last year and really redefined your offensive approach? Who, in your opinion, has been the most valuable and most important component to winning since 2022?
Look, I am one of the first people to acknowledge the great contributions and aid that A.J. Brown brings to the table with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. But in football, it's all about the quarterback. And one of the things I absolutely love about Jalen Hurts is that he is not trying to find a way to shoehorn himself into an offense and be the star of the show. He's not afraid to step aside. You put some other quarterbacks back there. Oh, no, we're running way too much, and I got to make sure I get mine. I think that is such a great thing about Jalen Hurts. I go with Jalen Hurts as the most important Eagle, and that is being full aware of what A.J. Brown brings to the table. But one of the things that jumps out to me the most about this past season, which for people that forget, is the second Super Bowl Jalen Hurts has played in. In the first one, for the short memory people, there was no Saquon Barkley in that game. So this one, I look at a guy this entire season that a lot of people question the mental know-how, the ability to read a defense and all that. And he's going into this season with a guy who hadn't played the center position at the NFL level in Cam Jurgens. And instead of leaving that up to Cam Jurgens, he took on that responsibility of helping his center more show shift protection, check down, pre-snap reads, and all that. That was on Jalen Hurts' shoulders. And that was a huge step forward. It was a big responsibility for him to take on. He took it, and he flourished. And the question that a lot of people asked throughout the season and statement they made was, oh, if Jalen Hurts has to throw the ball in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs, will they win? Well, the Kansas City Chiefs took away Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts made every throw he needed to make. And they blew out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, just like they blew out the Commanders in the NFC Championship game. It's all about the quarterback. I mean, you look at what New England was able to do, not that Jalen Hurts is Tom Brady by any means, but they kept it steady at quarterback, and they just kept winning. The Eagles with Jalen Hurts have someone whose mental toughness I never have to question, his desire to win I never have to question, his ability to spread the football around, whether that's Saquon Barkley on the team or DeAndre Swift on the team, or that's Miles Sanders on the team. Everybody is getting theirs. So I look at Jalen Hurts as the heartbeat and MVP of this team, and appropriately, as fate would have it, also a Super Bowl MVP already in his back pocket.
So in your opinion, then, they would be as successful with or without A.J. Brown?
I do think they'd be as successful. I mean, look, that's assuming you don't bring in somebody who's straight up ass at the wide receiver position.
Oh, like George Pickens? You know this, that's going to create a lot of crap there in Dallas. That guy is a big ass baby on the sidelines.
Oh, I can't. It's beautiful. Just to think of it, just to daydream about it. Oh, it's beautiful. But yeah, and look, he's a very talented football player. And I do look forward to him helping the Dallas Cowboys be a really good regular season team before they choke again in the postseason. So there you go.
Oh my God, that's absolutely.
That touches on an interesting point, because I hear a lot of people, and we're about to go through this point of the offseason, Sills, and where we go through the lists. Oh man, everyone's got a list about the list of quarterbacks and Jalen Hurts and all that. I'll be honest with you. The lists that are going to come out, I'm not going to be shocked when Justin Herbert is still ranked above Jalen Hurts in as far as a quarterback, because they're all playing fantasy. All right. What if Justin Herbert had this offense? I don't care, because he doesn't. And he'll probably never have this offense that Jalen Hurts has right now. I would doubt Howie Roseman, as crazy as he could be, I would doubt Howie Roseman's going to trade his entire offense to the Chargers. Okay. I know that Jalen Hurts works here in Philadelphia. I know if you get him some talent, just like any quarterback, he'll find a way to put that talent in the best possible position to help a team win. And I know Jalen Hurts can make the throws. I know Jalen Hurts can read the defense, pre-snap, post-snap, whatever. He has answered all the questions. So for me, I don't give a damn about the lists that are about to come out. I hope I never have to know how Jalen Hurts is going to play when he's on a crap team, because I always want him to be on a great team, and I want that great team to be the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, he is always on a great team from college on. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
it's been a storybook start from when he was at Bama, Oklahoma, and the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, I tell people all the time, Mark, it's not when you get drafted in the draft, it's where you get drafted in the draft to make your opportunity. So
yeah, absolutely
true. All right, my last one here for you. Do you have any concerns about 11 players not on this 53-man roster and a new OC that's going to be on this football team moving forward this year? I mean, even the role players that you had on this football team. I mean, look, you may say this, Kenny Gainwell, Orrin Burks, Fred Johnson. Well, those guys all had a role last year. You know, the great Jordan team in Chicago, not everybody was the superstar team, but Longley had a role. Rodman had a role. Pippen had a role. Kerr, Jordan was the main engine. Cartwright had a role. Everyone had a role. Everyone did a year ago. What do you make of 11 players that are no longer on this football team that played a role in what could have been the greatest year in Eagle history, not here any longer, moving forward with a new play caller? How do you see this year?
It's certainly not nothing. It's certainly something. I mean, again, I talked about question marks. Yeah, make this stretch and say it's right guard. Who is going to be the right guard? We had the same conversation last year, but do you have confidence in Jeff Stoutland staying here? But again, a lot of this comes down to Kevin Patullo. One of my biggest questions, it is a legit question. It's not just going to be answered during the course of the season. It could be answered right now. how is Kevin Patullo ready for this job now when he wasn't 2 years ago? And he went with Brian Johnson. You elevated Patullo to, I believe, not even assistant head coach, but I believe associate head coach.
Yeah.
And you went with Brian Johnson and said, what makes Kevin Patullo all of a sudden ready now? That's it. Hey, look, if the answer is, he just needed a little bit more time to observe how we want to do things, maybe learn from a guy like Kellen Moore, fine. That could be the answer to it. But it does beg the question, wait, he was here 3 years ago. Why now? Why is now the good time? The other thing is, it's a similar situation when you look at a guy like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Look, even if the Eagles bring in Justin Simmons, which I still think they will.
Yeah.
Even if the Eagles bring in Justin Simmons, he's still not Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. There's a known commodity with the best evidence you could possibly have. You had him. You went to a Super Bowl. You didn't have him. You didn't go to a Super Bowl. You brought him back. You went to another Super Bowl. How that? Like, the proof is in the pudding. So look, it's certainly not nothing. It's definitely something that we're going to question about the right mix of players. But ultimately, what it comes back to, and I forget who I just heard say this, but why should you have confidence that the Eagles can make these changes with their personnel and still expect similar results? And that has to do with coaching sticking around in, obviously the head coach and Nick Sirianni. Kevin Patullo is still an in-house guy that's very familiar with Nick Sirianni and obviously very tight with Jalen Hurts. And then you also think about Vic Fangio. I don't know if there's another guy in the NFL that deserves more trust right now than Vic Fangio. I mean, this is a guy that looked at, 6 plays of Zach Bond and went, inside linebacker, okay, check. And then all of a sudden he does what he does. And then the look on his face after they draft Jihaad Campbell, Sills. It was like a toddler on Christmas morning walking into that draft room. I got trust in the coaching staff that they're not just going to willy-nilly move on from guys. And even at the Kenny Gainwell spot, I really like A.J. Dillon. Damn.
Me too.
I mean, I think, look,
if he's healthy, that is an upgrade.
Kenny Gainwell, Kenny Gainwell was great last year. He wasn't good. He wasn't average. He wasn't serviceable. He was great last year. A.J. Dillon's a guy that's going to run over a couple of those people at the end of a 10-yard run and make it a 20-yard run. That's not something that Kenny Gainwell was able to do.
That's right. I mean, he's not, again, there's another issue with injury there with A.J. He's not being moved in Green Bay because he stinks. He was being moved because of that pinched nerve in his neck. Okay, that's where we're going. I know you got to run here, but will we see before training camp Nick Sirianni with a new contract?
Before training camp.
July 27th.
I'm going to say first week of training camp. I'm going to say
of training camp.
First week of training camp. Everyone's together. You make the announcement. Here he is. Answer the questions. Ask the questions. All that. New deal. Mega bucks. Yes. I'm going to say, if you're saying by training camp, no, but I will say it's right around there. It's the beginning of training camp.
Okay, so we're going to write this down here, and then we're going to burn it in the stoves of St. Peter's just to make sure Farzy gets – we don't want to have any evidence of this because, I don't know, we'll see.
It'll be the Nick Sirianni press conference following week. The Justin Simmons comes to the Eagles press conference.
I like that. I believe he is too. I think Vic wants him back there too. So, hey, Farzy, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Hey, congrats to Italians everywhere on a new pope, even though he's not Italian. They'll be crying in their cacio pepe tonight in Rome.
Yeah. Hey, I do like the fact he's an American, though, so we're good. We got our first American pope, so I'm in there, Team USA, baby. Team USA.
He's going to end every homily. He's going to end every homily with "Go Bears," just like that.
The Bears. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. How you doing? That was good stuff. Farzetta, man. Absolutely always great. Make sure you check him out when it comes to our broadcasting here on JAKIB Sports. That leads me to this here. I don't want to take a timeout yet. Oh, no. Oh, yes. Oh, no. Because I have a great topic here. Because I want to start this one up here. You tell me who has been the most important Eagle since 2022. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Saquon Barkley. The Eagles without A.J. in the starting lineup. 24-28-1. And with him, this is since 2021, excuse me. The Eagles are 39-21. Saquon Barkley delivered a Super Bowl. He was really the only difference from the 23 team. Who is the most important Eagle since 2021? A.J. Brown? And by the way, I'll disagree with Farzetta. I do not believe that Jalen Hurts wins a Super Bowl without A.J. Brown or without Barkley in the huddle. No way. We've seen what they've looked like without him in clutch games. I saw him in a playoff game without him. Undefeated at 24 with A.J. on the field. Whoa, let me add that one to it. Hold on here. Is that right? 30 D. Is that right? The Eagles, what was the record, Dirty D? Dirty D, what was the record with A.J. Brown on the field with the Eagles? What was that record? What was that record? Help me out. Help me out there, Dirty D. Throwing fire right in there. That's really good. Love it. What was the record last year when A.J. Brown was on the field? What was his record? Kyle. Steals the 99 Eagle defensive coaching staff, Frazier, McDermott, and Rivera. That's a good coaching staff. Absolutely. Let's see here. 13-0 or 12-1 with AJ on the field. All right. Huh. Interesting. 12-1 with A.J. Brown on the field, plus the 3 playoffs. They were 15-1 last year with Brown on the field. Is that, hey, Dirty D, am I right to say they're 15-1 with the playoffs with A.J. Brown on the field last year? Is that correct? All right. So we'll ask again. Who's the most important Eagle since 2021? A.J. Brown? Jalen Hurts? And Barkley? This always gets good. You know, it's funny. They didn't really start winning until AJ showed up in 22, right? Were they 9-8? Hurts' first year, right? Then AJ came in and went 14-3. Barkley came in, won a Super Bowl. Right? Huh. This is perplexing. I'm taken by it. Barkley got you the ring. Sills, as crazy as this might sound, I believe that Jalen Hurts is more confident when AJ's on the field with him. Needs to use him all the time, just knowing he's there. Dirty D. When A.J. Brown and Jalen play the whole game, we never lost the game in 24, I believe. It was 13. Oh, that's right. because that went a full game. So you're talking Washington. They were undefeated. So wait a minute. They were 18-0. Is that right, 30D? Not counting the Washington game when Hurts and him were playing together. They were 18-0. Wow. You know, funny, when Tyreek Hill got taken away from Patrick Mahomes, they won a Super Bowl. When Stephon Diggs, you all told me Josh Allen would regress. He won an MVP. Huh. I don't know what to make of that. They're undefeated with AJ on the field. And when AJ's not on the field, I'm assuming they're 1-3 this last year, right? 1-2. And since 21, 24-28 and 1. All right. Barkley. Oh, Barkley reinvented the offense last year. Remember what I told you after week 4 last year? If you do, some of you may. I said that Barkley was going to make you reevaluate how you were going to approach games. And they did. They went away from AJ. But guess what? AJ